Welcome to the Ordinary Guy Garage. I'm Scott, an ordinary guy. So, my plan yesterday was, which was going to be this video, which is, I guess still is in a way, put a new gasket on my windshield because my old one was the original. You can see it's got cracks in it and all through it, cracks all over the place. It was leaking water inside. Didn't affect the pinch weld around the windshield, but it did affect some of the stuff on the inside that I'll have to repair. But anyways, I've never done a windshield with the gasket before. I've done the windshields that kind of have that like glue, like a later model, like a Camaro or something like that, and they kind of glue in. I think the El Camino's the same way. They glue in. I've done those, and I've done the back windows that have, in trucks that have the gasket, but not a windshield. So I figured I'd go ahead and get in there and start doing it. And well, as you can see, it was going really good until it wasn't. So whatever, cracked the windshield. It's an old windshield anyways, and I was just sticking it in there because I figured I'd pull it back out when I painted the truck at some point. So I didn't really care, I was gonna use the old one. But now I got a brand new windshield on its way. Well, not here, it's going to the glass shop. Taking it to the glass shop. I've already, whatever, got to know when to cut them. So that, and also I got a busted side window too. So I'm going to go ahead and have them change that too. I got the glass for that as well. And I'll just have it all done at once, be done with it. So anyways, today's video is going to be a bit about redemption and honesty, because I honestly screwed that up and I need a little bit of redemption. So I need to do some front end work on this truck. When I put it together, the front clip is out of a 78, the cross member and all that is out of a 78 C10, and it was in really good condition. So I just pulled it out of the other frame, cleaned it, painted it, stuck it back in, or stuck it into this frame and called it good, but it needs some attention. And now that I've driven the truck a few miles, it's time that I do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and move the camera like that. Okay, so rag joint. I'm gonna put a new rag joint in it. I got one in there now that's not in bad shape, but brand new one's gonna be nice. Also, this is the cover that goes over the steering shaft. That's gonna go in. Then the other thing, let me pull the camera down here. Okay, so the other thing here is there's a little bit of play. I don't know if you can hear it, but there's a little bit of play on both sides. So wheel bearings probably just need to be packed and adjusted. I'll pull them apart and find out. I'll put new bearings in if I need to, but I'm pretty confident that all I have to do is just readjust them. And then the other thing I was gonna do is that the truck sits a little bit high in the front. So I'm gonna cut the coils on it. Probably take a coil out of it, try to drop it about 2 inches. Not much. I don't want it to be on the ground. I don't want it to be bagged. I don't want it, none of that stuff. That's not my style. I just would like to get a little bit more of the rake to it and get it so it doesn't look like a four-wheel drive anymore. So anyways, that's my plan. All right, got it mostly apart. Took the brake caliper loose, took the bolt out of the bottom of the shock, took the sway bar loose, and I didn't take the, I'm gonna try to get away without taking the tie rod end off, and then I got the bolt in there loose. So I'm gonna go ahead and beat it with a hammer, see if I can get it apart. Oh, let's see how this goes. Just like that, pops it loose. All right, this is one of those points, or one of those parts where you gotta be super careful because these springs can have a lot of tension on them. However, I can grab a hold of this thing and move it around. So, tells me that it's not gonna come flying out at me. And if it does, that's just another lesson learned, but I've done enough of these to know that that's loose enough. See, it's popping loose. hopefully I can get it out of there. That guy's pretty tight. Let's see if we can pop it out this way. Like that. I bet you. Well, from what I've read and seen on the old YouTube, cut 2 inches. Wait, if you want 2 inches, you cut 1 inch. If you want 4 inch, you cut 2 inches, you know, off your spring. So I just kind of set this up against a little piece of channel here so it gives me a backing, and move this down so we can see. So we have my end right here. If I go to the end there, it is 13.5. Move it a little bit. Go to my end, it's 13.5, 13 3/4. If I cut it straight at there, just right, exactly 1 coil, I'm right about 1 inch. So if I go down 1 inch, so I'll cut it right about 1 inch. So if I end up going 2.5 inches, it's not the end of the world. I got about 5 inches of front end to get rid of, or that I could mess with. So if I go 2.5, that's not a bad deal. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hack one off right along this line here, and we should end up with it being 12.5 or so. And then what I'll do for the next one, I'll just measure to that 12.5, which should just be a coil because the truck sits straight. So 1 coil is what I'm going to cut off. You know, the other thing is these coils, you can see there, you got the coil, but then when it gets to the bottom here, it flattens out. You know, and these things are tempered. So you can take a torch and cut this and ruin the temper. You could heat it up with the torch and compress it and ruin the temper. You can cut it off with a cutoff wheel, not ruin the temper. And then you can cut it off with a cutoff wheel and then flatten it out like that and ruin the temper. So what I'm gonna do is just cut it off there, call it good. There's a little pocket in the bottom, and I'll show you that when I put it back together on the A-frame, that this will sit in, that this end, little tail here will sit in. Whether it's flat or whether it's up a little bit, it'll still grab it, it'll be in there, it'll be fine. This isn't this is just a street truck. This isn't something that's holding a bunch of weight. Even if it was, it'd be fine. So anyways, I'm gonna give those a cut. All right, coil off. And not hot. So coil off, let's go put it back. Okay, it's a little bit hot, but not hot enough that it's red, so I can pick it up. All right, so on the A-frame here, right in the back, you can see right there where my finger is, there's a little bit of a divot, and that's where that bottom coil right there will sit in, right there. Also, on the top up here, you can kind of see where it's a little bit worn, I guess, in a way. Up in there, I don't know if you can see it in there, but anyways, take my word for it. Up inside this cross member, there's another piece in there. A little thing that holds the top portion of this right here. So you got to get that piece in, and then that piece in right there, and jack it up. Easiest if you have 2 people, but I often work alone 99% of the time, so I just deal with it. Got a helper with me now. Future NASCAR pit guy. He'll be on the wheel crew, busting out those wheels in record time. That seems like a tight one. Yeah. Good job. Okay, so we got it all put back together, got the wheel bearings adjusted. They didn't need to be repacked. I didn't need to replace them. They were just a little bit, you know, turn a little bit of a churn on the nut and put the cotter pin back in, and that took care of it. I didn't get a lot of filming of putting it back together because my son was out here and we got busy talking and working together and stuff. Kind of, some things are more important in videos. But anyways, it's all back together. The rag joint that I got was the wrong one. It fit, except for it didn't fit the steering box. So just tightened up the one that was on there, and it's fine. Real happy with the way that it sits. Man, it sits just right. I don't know if it was 2 or 3 inches that came down. I didn't measure it to begin with. Cutting a coil was what I had in my head I was going to do to begin with. But I figured since I was making a video, I'd go ahead and measure it. But a coil was what did it. Really wish I could drive it, but I got to wait on the windshield. I'll probably go down, or my appointment is actually on Wednesday to take it down in there, because they won't come out here because of the coronavirus. So I have to take it to them. So I'll put it on the trailer and haul it down to them on Wednesday morning. And they'll put the new windshield in and the side glass, so that'll be pretty neat. And next we'll probably start on some sheet metal, but like I said, the El Camino is coming in next. Got to do some more radiator work and a few more little things, because I'd like to start driving that pretty soon. And the S10 is going to come in too, but that's another story. So anyways, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for subscribing to my new subscribers. Thank you, appreciate it. Tell your friends, the more the merrier. Thanks for listening to me and hanging out. And whatever you do, stay safe, and subscribe.